Hello. How's it going, Eerie One? Eerie One. Making sure everything's working. Da da da. Ma ba ba. There we go. Okay. What's up, guys? Back to the letter. Fun times. The day after proved to be a difficult task. My darling prince is a man of many connections, a man of the people. He's always talking to one person or another, and I'm always left alone, unable to stay at his side at all times. It's frustrating, but I have to be understanding. Besides, I don't see why he can't just stay at home. The least I can do is make sure I have his time while he's here, which in and of itself isn't as easy as it sounds. No, the bloody valet of his tailing him around.
I can't find it anywhere.
Have you looked around your neck? It should be there if it's not on your clothes horse, sir.
It isn't often I'm awake this early, at least early enough to find my darling preparing for the day with his valet attending to him. It's an old-fashioned way to go about the morning. I sneezed. That's unfortunate. It's an old-fashioned way to go about the morning. He's able to dress himself after all, but he says that it makes it the day easier for him to have someone else do this tedious task, albeit with a grimace. Ah. Ooh. Though if that manservant of his dislikes the duty so much, I'll gladly
I've got it, my
instead.
prince. Come here.
Well, someone's up and at them especially early this morning, huh? Here I thought you'd be knackered by all the dancing we did last night at the party. And after that, well...
A saucy little wink and a smile is what he offers me as I draw close to fix his tie, and when the valet reaches out with his perfume, I quickly take it and shoo him aside. This close, his scent fills me with the smell of red flowers, cocoa, cardamom, and almonds. It's intoxicating. And the sight of the two of us in the vanity mirror is picturesque and perfect. Can I help it if I feel a little bit resentful that another person get to do this for Luke every morning when I could have done it myself? No.
You're
no,
dismissed, Shrokin. I have this. Go on then. You'll be summoned if you're needed.
You can see his eyes behind there? You can. There's a curious look, furrowed brows before any sign that he cares is wiped from his expression.
Very well. If you need me, I'll be somewhere that isn't here.
You could have let the man do his job.
And I say there's no need for him. I can take care of you just fine, my prince. Just where are you off to this morning anyway?
I hate the thought of him leaving me. It feels like an eternity without him here in this lonely place that doesn't feel like a home quite yet. Although the mansion is really growing on me, slowly but surely. I want to be at his side, yet he fails to see
Business.
such an obvious
Where
thing.
else?
Why can't you just work from home? You can afford to, can't you?
Business needs a firm hand and a personal touch, Buttercup. Besides, I can't stay cooped up forever in here. I'll go mad.
Well, you'll come back home as soon as possible, won't you? It's so awfully lonely here without you, my prince.
Stop calling me
could.
Prince.
I don't see
You're
why I
blowing up
should,
his
though.
head.
This hasn't been a problem before. You know I'll come home when I come home.
Just get home as soon as you can. For me, won't you?
No promises. It's business after all. I can't just stand up in the middle of the meeting and tell them the wife wants me home.
Well, you can't.
Then forget those peasants.
He stops and stares, looking perturbed for a moment before shaking his head. Is he feeling ill? That's more reason for him to stay here with me, doesn't it? I'm just being a good wife, worrying about my husband and all. Yeah, this...
Be good, dear. And stay safe. There's been all sorts of dodgy characters seen about the property.
Dude, I think you missed last time. There was actually scary stuff. It was quite entertaining. And I am looking forward to the horror that
I'll be leaving
promised.
Johans with you, just in case you need anything, and to be on the safe side, okay?
But I don't need a valet. I need you here with me.
I'll be closing a big deal with a pharmaceutical company soon, if things go according to plan. Maybe, after that, I can take a breather for a bit.
No maybes. You have to promise me.
I only need
I'm
him.
going to be late, Hana.
Wow.
The longer this takes, the later I'll get
Getting more
home.
obsessive.
Fine. Shall I see you out?
If that's what you want.
At the front door, his valet waits, ready to accompany him for the rest of the day when he is told to stay and attend me. I still don't like it. It looks like he doesn't either, but I ignore him in favor of the one who really matters. I hold Luke's hand in mine and give him a deep kiss. It makes my heart flutter. It's the way I see his eyes close during our moment of passion. Parting for air, I can only smile.
Have a good day, my prince.
Okay, they did not have this good of a relationship the night before.
Right. Off I go.
No, dude, I understand sleeping schedules, especially in college, is rough. That's putting it mildly. He should just stay forever.
If you could let go of my hand, please, Hana.
Well, Mom Hana's been possessed. It's just so hard to let go when I finally have him in my grasp. Wow. To watch him enter his car and leave pains me so. It leaves behind an aching, gaping hole like a hunger and a need. I'm not content until
If
he
it
returns.
fits you, breakfast is ready in the parlor, madam.
Mom Hana. If anything, I'll be in a foul mood until he returns.
Leave and go practice your bloody sodomy elsewhere.
Peculiar.
She's been possessed. When I turn around to hiss at him to leave, he's already gone, and that suits me just fine. I want to be alone without anyone bothering me. I want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, and only these halls as company. These walls which will hold our memories, just he and I. There's no one else I need but my prince, not some cheeky servant who's just living it up because he's Luke's right-hand man. Rubbish like him deserve nothing. Yeah. He deserves to be thrown and locked in the attic. Without realizing it, my feet have brought me here. Oh, yay. She's been completely possessed. The empty, lifeless room disgusts me. The longer I stare at it, the harder it gets to breathe, as if the walls are moving in on me. Yet at the same time it pulls me in. I hear a whispering, and curiosity gets the better of me as I look under the bed. There on the far corner, a loose floorboard. The wood, despite having swelled and warped over the years, is strangely familiar, comforting in its feel. Though it's not merely what my hand searches for as I reach for it, it takes quite an effort, but soon I'm able to lift it, and inside, underneath dust and cobwebs, lies a pendant, warm and familiar. And I swear if I just close my eyes, I can feel it beating in my palm. I feel a thrill, though. I also feel a thief for taking this. But it's mine. So without delay, I hide it. I hide in our room. Hannah was being extra clingy to her husband and grew easily irritated whenever someone would go near him, including their butler. When wandering the mansion, she found an old locket hidden under the attic's bed. Ecstatic over her rare find, she immediately wore it, replacing the Evans heirloom she always kept. In front of the vanity, I see the way my eyes shine as I remove the clasps of my old necklace and put on the new one. It fits a lot better than the old one, right where it belongs. Yeah, she's definitely possessed. I can feel it as it
Right
feels on
where it
mine.
belongs.
Not a fan. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. New profile. Zachary. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey where his family owned a diner and bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to a hate crime, and they were forced to move to England where their grandparents lived. He had loved cooking and helping out with their old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. It did not help that he was one of the few blacks in a predominantly white community at the time. His passion for the visual arts was sparked when he found old Polaroids and home movies of his parents. Freelancing helped pay his rent, but the man had long set his sights on the indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred, and Ashton was there to investigate. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time led Zachary being placed as a suspect, but the rookie detective helped him clear his name. It's pie, photography, and filmography. I love pie. Cooking, acoustic guitar, video games. Height 0'0". I think that's incorrect. Give me a moment, because I in my head I can't convert 10 meters to inches. So she's 5'7" at 170. 5 inches in the span of 12 centimeters. Oh my gosh, that's awkward. Never mind, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing math. Not math this morning. I don't have math today. I'm not going to use math any more than I have to. Alright, so we're going to go centimeters, 2 inches. There we go. Because I'm lazy and Google is Google is Google. Centimeters, 183. Because they keep mentioning how tall he is. So 72 inches. So he's like 6 foot. Yeah. 6 feet's not that tall. Growing up in a family with lots of people, I love all pie, dude. Apple pie is my favorite, but I like all pies. Religion agnostic. Wait, was she Roman Catholic? Yeah, she was. Okay. I don't know why that one just jumped out to me. Faint but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commending gaze, Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning, and the distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too eventually, but we ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller and older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without
But a little
having to be
peek wouldn't
lifted.
hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is, the walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and
No,
Ma...
please wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time. Don't go.
I can't hear, Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the Red Sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. It's a tiny room. I don't think I'd survive there. I'd probably stick out over the end of the bed. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me and my blanket is a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived yet.
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long. Too long since the last I've woken up, drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day or until my mind forgets about it. So yes, apple pie, blueberry pie, blackberry pie, elderberry pie, lemon meringue pie, cheesecake pie, any pie. Egad, whatever comes first. Yet vivid or not, what little I remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and there's a twinkle in Ma's eye when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks, the scent of her freshly baked bread from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer the moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but his pat on my back when I come within an arm's reach is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put them up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar, so distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it, but I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is as unsettling as ever. Yeah, here it's about the same size as my room. My room is about double this size at home, but I share it, so it's... Actually, this one's longer than the room right here, I think. Yeah, Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had
No
the chance.
longer there, Zachary. Here and there, miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
Pressure of my own fingers against my temples is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. Never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I'm safe, away from the place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap follows finally chases away the ghost threatening to hang around. Or anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock on someone else's door, this lake confuses me. Nana would chase them all away with a broom if she was here. But no matter, it's a welcome break from the thoughts that take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Looking for a place to crash. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering me with the courtesy when he never did so before. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say, except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny that looks on my head. Waste no time opening the latch.
Isabella, it's late.
The blue eyes. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, palms sweaty, knees not something, I don't remember. Breathing heavy and an uncontrollable shaking in her hands as she's trying to hold back. Hide if I didn't know.
Hey, Zach. Sorry. I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you were the closest to my office, and...
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry. I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
I think it's just a lot of spaghetti. She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead her only response is a downward shift of her gaze back to her still trembling hands, as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture, easy to miss if one's not paying attention, but for someone who's seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you knocked. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it.
That's a chair. If that's the only piece of furniture in your room, it doesn't look comfortable to sleep
I swear, that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a good few seconds, only the clinking of plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such an hour, doesn't matter. I'll be darned if I turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years since I've known her, she's never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet in this particular moment, she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, as if I'm looking at a completely withdrawn from the person.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway.
Not my chair.
Hey, feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable
not as good
right
a
now.
hashtag as feel
Sorry,
fine, man.
New freelance gigs and didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that, a quip, a witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time, only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch in silence that stretches out to what we left hanging feels disconcerting. I thought it said discontenting for a second. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my scheduled shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
She's curled up on one side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and water she requested. There's got to be another couch. It can't just be that chair. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she's quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. Worrying. Sudden loss for words, this bout of quiet is not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take the seat is a welcome break. Though the company is familiar, this has gone way past unnerving. More yawns. More water.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it will be enough to help her recovery, as she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap, her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened to Rose.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then, a little memory from the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, the glimpse of the bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects would strike someone this close to me.
Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
You look so sad.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished. And I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest.
Aw,
Even the most
such a good
hard-working
friend,
people
Zach.
I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
Oh, he's so
It's
nice.
just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night. Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I
just
could
itching
accompany
his
you
nose all
home
the
if
time.
you...
No! Wait, please!
The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it's this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. I gotta. Mute. Okay. So if I... There we go. Hello? Hello? Mueller? Mueller. Maybe lock the door and turn the lights down low. There we go. Hello? There we go. Okay. I'm just naturally stupid. That's what it is. Look, I'm not a fan of the music either, but it was a good test. Yeah, it's a good audio test. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat countenance. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch
Bella,
is telling enough.
this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
I'm so scared. The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing goes labored. Do I go to anyone for Overwatch content? I look at the YouTube highlights. I mean, there's a lot that you can look at just from there are two channels. I know one of them's Fresh Nuts. I don't remember the other one. I look at Your Overwatch a bit. I'm not the only guy I enjoy listening to on there is Eddie. So I don't watch them much. I'm subscribed to Unit Lost, Stylosa, but I can't stand the way he putting it politely, I can't stand the way he brown noses Blizzard with every single change or everything that comes up. Yeah, no, it's called Fresh Nuts. It is actually called Fresh Nuts. I don't know why it's called Fresh Nuts. But I can't stand the way he cozies up to Blizzard for every change. That'll be putting it politely. I look at Overwatch Central a bit. I'm not subscribed to him, but I look at him quite a bit. Who else? I look at Ian Master Gamer. I think I messed up the name. Ian Pro Gamer, Ian something Gamer. I think it's Ian Master Gamer. But he's very knowledgeable about it too. And of course I watch Tim the Tatman highlights and Gale highlights and some Defran highlights, but I'm not a huge fan of Defran. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know anymore.
She claps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly to the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone.
This is not her.
I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
All right, Isabella. Look at me.
Stylosa? Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. It's dude, some of the stuff he says, I'm like, are you blind, deaf, and mute? I mean, come on, dude. My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present.
That's not the face that goes with this.
I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you.
Still not the face that goes with this.
Do you want to talk about it?
Still not the face that goes with it. Yeah. The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please. No more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask any more. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much. We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that. I take that as my cue to start cleaning shards littering the floor before either one of us gets hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than a ragged draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick, and soon enough she's already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling with a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed and hugs herself tighter, and against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving soon, but for her sake I hope it won't stay long with her. There are still questions left to be answered. But the late hour coupled with the sudden exhaustion made my old couch a more comfortable bed than it typically is. Darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits the makeshift pillows. Alright, I think this is the day. Friend Isabella Santos knocked at Zachary Steele's apartment in the middle of the night. Shaken, she refused to say what happened. Zachary lets her stay regardless. Yeah, okay, so this is directly following the events at her office that we saw 2 episodes ago. I can only wish the dreams will keep at a distance for now for both of us. October 25th, Tuesday. First few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights where sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. Lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything with subtle gray hues. This hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep, but the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly across the screen while I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call
Took you
yet.
long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea
Shining
where...
in my window? The sun? What's shining in my window? Was I not paying attention?
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing
Oh,
in the
you
morning.
mean his window? Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah. I get
I'm
listen,
terrified.
Ash. About Bella.
Let my voice trail off, unsure about how to go about recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometime during sleep, she pulls a blanket over herself and tucked it in comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for a firm grip on the edge of the cover, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something. The worry or concern must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then. No, it's because you said, I'm not really sure how to go about this. Listen, about Bella. Yeah, he's going to notice something. Carefully, as if he's preparing
Look,
for the worst.
you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You know, Becca?
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think, okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it.
Wow, rude.
Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch,
Oh, the window.
you weren't there.
To the window.
We were walking one second and then the next.
Wow.
She's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him if the way fell silent after his telling, but whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He always been good with that, hiding what
did
he
she
thinks.
say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some
It's
things I
like
need to do
me.
anyway.
If I'm like doing something.
I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and several minutes after I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxburn rouses. Come morning, Zachary receives a phone call from Ashton, who is looking for Isabella. Zachary informed him that she stayed over and of the circumstances. Before ending the call, Ash offered to pick her up. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning shopping. Not the most soothing sounds to hear the following troubled night. I'm also focused on the fact that clock says noon. But the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Wait. I'm gonna see if it's if I can nitpick anymore. Tuesday the 25th. 1, 2, 9. Yeah, I gotta remember what comes after 9. 16, 22, 23, 24, 25. Monday the 25th. Lazy calendar making. This is gonna be the downfall of the Visual Novel Society. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? Game is unplayable. In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have the day to get through despite the proverbial ghosts hanging about. The orange bottle sitting on the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the weight that carries something I've never gotten used to. Years ago I'd spend minutes, heck even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just a routine, a way to stave off the unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro would be quite pleased if he ever found out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, then I pop the tablet into my mouth.
What time is it?
The bottle in my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. Chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities, inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of adult earlier than her own dreams can afford. To overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level Ash exercises for his investigations or Rebecca needs for her own work, but certainly enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flicker to the table and my hand says something, that I won't be able to avoid the questions
Only a
this
little.
time.
I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
Ma doing? You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
That's the rug. I was like, why is her arm split down the middle?
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions?
Good lad.
Not in this house. My nana will give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be.
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety's never been one of her greatest assets, but right now even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at a loss of words for that. She's left it up to me whether I'll give her the response she wants to hear or not. Well, you gotta tell the truth. If she's your friend. It's never easy, ain't it? Telling about my own problems, that is. It never will be, but not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. I realized that long ago when the wounds were still fresh and the Wait, what was it before? Wait, I gotta check. I'm obsessive. What can I say? Yeah, boost it. Okay. Realize it's what's normal now and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her and giving too much of what I can. However, for all of her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. That's all I
My
can
bad.
ask of her.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back in its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every
What?
day.
Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's.
Dude, I do it with every single game I play. If it's a choice-based game. If it's something else, I'm not I'm terrible with saving, and I will save very rarely, and I'll often screw myself over because of it. But with like visual novels and everything, I obsessively save before every single choice, even if I know it doesn't matter. Because usually what's ended up happening, and I'm not going to do it with this one, because this one's supposed to be a relatively long one, but you're supposed to, but I usually go back and I will do every single possible path and go through every single choice possible. The one game that I played, one visual novel, because I like visual novels because I love to read. I started it a Friday after school had ended, so at like 12:30, and I played it the rest of Friday, all of Saturday, and all of Sunday to finish the whole game. And dude, I love visual novels, but man, like if you get into it, it's rough. What? It was bad.
Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open and her smile honest, as if this is just simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It's far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come
Let's
up.
hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth of my ma and pa, that old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. Can't recall most of it now, my own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my collection the whole instant. I have played Telltale games. Telltale games are visual novels, but they got a lot of quick time events. Visual novels are this. Like, there's no other action really besides the reading. And I'm gonna do a full playthrough of this. I'll probably stream the whole thing. I might toss in a few streams here and there so that people who don't want to watch don't have to. And it's just kind of odds and ends for it. But yes, I played Telltale games. I have only played The Wolf Among Us. I have the Batman one. I loved Wolf Among Us. That's such a good game. And even if you're looking for something with just a little bit of action and a lot of reading, that's an excellent game. And when it's normally $25, and when it's on sale, it's like $6. So if you wanted to get that, that's a good Telltale game to do. The second one's coming out this year, which I am super pumped about. I will definitely be playing that for stream. But yeah, I enjoy Telltale games. It's a lot like a regular visual novel. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hit the floor, motionless, his lifeblood flowing out under him. And the gunman, he was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed it until...
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news.
Yeah, they did make Walking Dead in another one, but I have personally never watched Walking Dead, and I'm not that interested in it. Zombies don't interest me. Everybody else, there was that whole fad about them for like years, and I personally think it's still going on, because it goes from like, it was wizards when Harry Potter first came out, and everybody was into the magic stories, the magic games, yada yada yada. Then it went to vampires, because of the Twilight series that started that whole trend, and then all the other vampire stuff that came out, and all the other werewolf stuff, and all the other magical creatures. And then it was dystopia, with Hunger Games leading the charge, and then it was zombies. And I think the zombie one is still going on, but it moved into superheroes, very much so. It moved into superpowers. With Marvel and everything getting such a big leap, and now it's into what was the one? I said it the other day. Same, I've only watched PewDiePie in like 2 or 3 things. But yeah, and now it's something else. I said it the other day. I can't remember, and I think ever since, not wizards, ever since vampires, I predicted what it was going to be every time, which is pretty cool. But I mean, that's just because I read so much. I don't read as much anymore because I don't have much time. But I used to read so much. I knew all the new books that were coming out and everything, and I knew where the trends were going. I could see it start with a big book and be like, okay, that's where it's going now. But I think dystopia is making a small comeback for that. But that's just because people are paranoid nowadays.
A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us.
Yeah, no, dude, like, if you know stories, it's not hard to predict stuff. The problem is...
They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me.
The problem is, like, for me, I don't mind spoilers and stuff, but I've read so much that I usually know where plot lines are going. I've read, and I'm an English major, so I know where a lot of plots are going, movies and books. And video games, obviously, especially video games that are very story-based. So it's like, I get... There's no surprises anymore. And I do like to stay away from spoilers, but at the same time, like, I don't mind if they're there. I'm still going to enjoy the thing for what it is. I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little hard to answer, but to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment. She appeared wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me. A bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets the sentiment across. Wait, what's the difference in heights again? I gotta check. 5'2" and 6 foot. Yeah, I think that is actually a 6. Nope, that is a 6. He's not that tall. I see. My whole family's like really tall, besides my grandmother's. So it's like 6 foot, nothing. But it's difficult to answer this in kind if I'm supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my earlier apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it's obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh? Okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry. I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
Becca will probably get mad for you.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew! Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons? But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief fleeting, and disappears before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night, never mind. This isn't a good time, but don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out, and if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved, her words are more reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone and knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can, but this is the dance I know all too well, and with her I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about happiest people when angry? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it had been simply waiting for the cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me! I'm not that hungry!
Sure.
Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
No, I don't blame you. I like Telltale. What they do with stuff, there are some things they do, there are some games they do, and I'm like, why would you make that a Telltale game? Like, that seems like it ruins the game or movie or whatever in general. I've played Borderlands 2 a bit. I've never played the original Borderlands, never played pre-sequel, but my brother and my friend played the hell out of it. And they keep telling me don't ever play the pre-sequel, so I'm not gonna do that.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here.
Wait a second, I got a 25th, that's the 25th, 26th. Ah. Wait, I've still got to go through that. Ooh.
Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
Soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle,
On
she'll
second
remember.
thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for
You got
that?
ham and potatoes. You're like, I'm lacking, but I have ham and potatoes.
What? Do you
It's
think
sliceable,
instant noodles are
man.
all I'm about? I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
I don't know what that is.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite a massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Isabella saw Zachary taking an unknown medicine and, concerned, asked what it's for. He admitted he's suffering from trauma ever since his parents were killed in a hate crime. Isabella could only offer him a comforting hug. To lighten the mood, the two decided to cook breakfast afterward. Between us, the consistent clapping of a knife against a board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else would come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping the conversation going has never been my forte. It has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department, sometimes Ash's, though most coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy who never did call back, I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back asleep after that call.
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to... Hold on! I'll be right there! Sheesh! Wait up! If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down, Ash!
Oh, good. You're awake.
Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes from the oven. He's going to be thankful for breakfast. He's never really been keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance. but
Don't
he's
you have work
trustworthy.
today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Izzy, man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry. I got caught up with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that.
Oh, he's a bitch.
He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear fond of the idea. Sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, the force alone enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. Would have made for a funny picture, the way Ash almost crashes into her and Bella's giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once, two things that rarely ever grace it if he can help it. If only I had my camera with me.
What is
Dang.
it?
It's right there on the table. If you need it, you know.
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking! Real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite. Please? Zach, help me here!
These two, whenever they're in the same room, sometimes it feels like hurting a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaged in pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, I'd have an overactive imagination. I'd say there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Or it might just be me reading it too much into things. Like always, I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest such. I cooked up a feast. I cooked up a feast.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste. Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
The oven timer dings. That was very loud. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over to the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of glaze and salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. Scent immediately fills the entire room, and even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the doorframe for support, doubled over with breathless laughter. Ash, the more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept into his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything. Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
I don't know what your one eye is doing right there. But it's
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
That actually looks really good. You got a mess on your face, you two. Ash is so composed. We eventually settle. Is it still moving? It stopped moving, okay. We eventually settle down after the food's been served. The jibes replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk about over food in polite company. In this case in particular, the wounds are too fresh too soon. I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her positions and someone I personally knew passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Though perhaps the closest thing we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion's brought up again. But even then, we're careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least
The
we can
rights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned.
do. Borderlands 2 and Warframe. I just downloaded Warframe because a couple of guys I know play it, and I think I'm gonna start.
It's
playing
why
it,
they
but-
wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely?
them.
Sorry. I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Ermite, something. When you put it that way, I
Ermagerd.
suppose it makes sense why my boss
Actually,
wants me to
that's
prioritize
almost the name
couple.
of the mansion. Wait, Ermagerd. That's almost the name of the mansion. I'm so glad I figured that out.
They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. And they're more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too.
Ma'am Hana.
As long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes
Look
after
awful
all.
scared about different
Still,
clients.
a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but
But it's still weird. Still weird, yeah?
Slip of the tongue, still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well, they should have one. Especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup.
Does it have a nice community? That's amazing. That's a first. Right there.
That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
Can we please move on to a different topic?
That's impressive. That's a talent right there. It helps the casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane stories interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at forefront of my mind. If it's the same for Isabella, for whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tosses over, but he doesn't give her an answer and waits for her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you.
Yeah, that's impressive about the jerk players.
See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
A grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a while after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting stuff to go down at some point.
That
soon.
wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
That's impressive for hours. The most hours I have on any game is Overwatch. Second most is Pokemon. If you put all my Pokemon games together, they definitely win. But Pokemon Pearl, that game I have like 700 plus hours into it, maybe 6. I know it's over. At one point, it was just at 599, just for a while because I would get on, do a daily thing, and then get off.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taking notice of it the moment
You
he
back
enters
on
the room.
those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is.
Yeah, I remember what she said. Dude, addiction to a video game
I
is
don't think
not
I'll be
a
doing
dope.
that again anytime
Like,
soon.
I'm not criticizing you, but like some people, and it's not even, for some people it's actually addiction. For some people it's just they enjoy one game and don't find joy in other games. And like, I've been in that place before. Like, it was actually, the last one was a visual novel that I just didn't like playing other games. I had to finish it. I had to take all the paths before I could get into any other games again. Like, I did not have fun playing anything else. And it was weird because I wasn't used to that, but yeah, no, that definitely happens, and you're just like, I don't want to play anything else.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. Mild draft sweeps into the room and I close the door behind them, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Ermengarde Mansion, H. Wright. Mom Hannah. 11 a.m. for luxury living. After Ashton's warnings, they hold a different meaning now. October 27th, Thursday. Alright. Wait, did that say October 27th? Ashton arrived to fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food they prepared. In the end, Ashton acquiesced and stayed. The rights in this X upcoming gig were a few topics touched over their talk at breakfast. You're playing Siege. Rainbow Six Siege? Yeah, no, and that makes sense, especially with Destiny and Borderlands. Next 2 days rush by and blur altogether, leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up into new unexpected acquaintances or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision and knows what he wants, but he can be a bit too
Doesn't
enthusiastic
matter when you
sometimes.
couldn't sleep anyway.
I've never played Rainbow Six. I've never played Rainbow Six. I've never played CSGO. And my buddies always tell me, oh, you gotta play it. But all I hear is saltiness about it. So I'm not a big fan. I've never played Call of Duty. Like I've said before, Overwatch was the first FPS I played, which really narrows down a lot of the choices of the things everybody else played. But yeah, no, grinding, I get that. I totally get that. It only works for me for a couple of games, unfortunately. Pokemon. Pokemon. I love Pokemon. There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep it. Given enough time, you might end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when the local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. A party here, an acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, or other times it's like everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Yeah, I remember when Siege was a big thing. I could, the computer I played games on could barely run Gmod. It could not run Rainbow Six Siege. I know it couldn't. There's no way it could have run CSGO. Overwatch would have probably made the thing explode. Then I got a gaming laptop, and that worked for a while, but... Oh yeah, people are cheap to stay on top. I mean, it's like all the stories my buddy tells me about Call of Duty. People just sit in the corner and camp, because it's an easy way to get points. It's a easy way to climb. No, that was a work computer. That wasn't even a gaming computer. That was supposed to be my laptop for school, but... my buddy started playing PC games, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll do that. And the only games I ever played were like Game Boy Color, Nintendo DS. That was it. Sometimes it's new business venture, other times it's everyday gossip that typically follows people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I'd end up working for such a high-profile couple. Between that and the fuss that comes with it, leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash was so adamant to keep her away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure, it was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal, but it's just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media. Nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Mrs. Wright would pick him if he didn't have any good points at all. Mrs. Wright, Hannah herself, though. She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. Hey, that's the picture. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. Wait, does he have the one with the ghosty goo on it? For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among the other things, her newfound friendship is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder the woman who often gets the end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have even ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabel too if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practiced motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on the drying rack and amble over to my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film process... I wonder where this broom closet is. The film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits in the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one for the set Miss Wright requested. Probably not healthy, no. This tin or nickel or whatever's in it. I don't usually make this a habit giving away stuff that is. It's bad for business no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. The exception, however, she did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Story update. Oh, story, not journal. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. Maybe it's just me, but for someone who has everything in the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles, always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like these help. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding a decent amount of the photo flow. Let me see it. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one. Even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. I downloaded it literally last night. I have downloaded it before and I never opened it up, but I downloaded it last night while I was at a friend's house, at a friend's apartment. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools in a drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before its glow settles and casts a soft light on the tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process, and finally call it a night. Her head is gone. Her head is gone. No, that's a head. It's just mildly warped. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. The area is completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick the newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times actually, but I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one
It
from
could pass
scratch.
off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
Memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many, a short yet distinct second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image into my mind. There was a shadow. Hey! No. A woman. In her 20s, early 30s maybe. With how far flesh alone has become, how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. Skin itself is already taken to a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grips Mr. Rats like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in
Zachary?
her eyes. Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw.
Where's the dead lady behind you?
Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
Memory alone, it's enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. Journal. Some of Hannah's shots from the photo shoot the day before came out distorted after Zachary developed them. He would have almost dismissed it as human error if he didn't remember the chilling memory from yesterday's shoot. Trick of the eye, I told myself, a product of the heat. Definitely, dude. I will. I promise you I will. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for things to happen. And while blaming this on the usual fatigue and overworked brain or the weather and amateur error on my part, it's far more convenient. Makes a whole lot more sense than what the small voice in my head whispers. Same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that led a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. With each second I spend staring at the photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. I'm not going to show that to Hannah. Wait. Okay. I just saved. I'm going to see if it changes anything right off the bat. No, it doesn't. No, that doesn't change anything right off the bat. So, yeah, no, that makes sense. Show the photo to Hannah, show the photo to Ash. Which one shall I do? Kind of want to show it to Ash because I don't trust Hannah. I know Hannah's transformed now. She is the lady. She's got the weird smile and everything. The necklace, yada yada yada. But if I show Ash, she probably won't believe me. Yeah. It doesn't matter. If I show it to Ash, then I might show it to... If I show it to Ash, then I might show it to Bella. I should give me flack for this. He will. I can already hear what he's going to say about it the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. The guy's a skeptic through and through, and it'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I'm no hero. It's title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this'll help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun is yet to rise. I still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives a soft click and darkness embraces the small claws.
Somehow
together.
those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and one visit to his flat later. I have no idea which rock in Luxburn he went off to hide under again. The guy has his own place, but he refuses to stay in it. Has his own phone, but he doesn't answer any of his calls or give any indication he's gotten my messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up at my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep in the back of his Shirley, his car. As if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him, though, but a bit frustrating, really. There's a police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either, and if that's true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much to do for me but to wait if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
Well, Luxburn is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate. Its precinct stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like the receptionist. They looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the
Not
lobby.
even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved?
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the fourth one yesterday. Murders, people missing. What a time to be alive.
What a time.
Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me first as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his own mobile out, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though, only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of
Stop
amusement.
taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
At least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice. What else do I need it for?
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start. Technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing like a case he's handling, he tends to forget there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long
I've got
way.
an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes? Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that. There's something I want you to see.
Stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks me past me straight to the door and gestures with his head towards their very irked receptionist when I raise
Over
an eyebrow
lunch.
and question.
I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not before sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. Nice guy. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is lunch he invited me to, I would automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. It's basically what I do. I like to see people coming and going. I like to see the door. A slice of their vegetarian quiche for me. I'm not a big fan of quiche. I don't like eggs all that much. Besides hard-boiled, I like hard-boiled eggs. Nothing on them, just the straight hard-boiled egg. Meanwhile, Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee plus a gracious
You having
serving of-
cake for lunch?
He shrugs and then proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas
Don't
present
tell
on-
Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
You should listen to her though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you,
Okay.
just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of 2 kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat.
To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be too strong of a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Though whatever appropriate word it is, I can say with most certainty the feeling's mutual for us both. Ash thinks she nags too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble magnet I should stay away from. They're both technically right.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
What should I say now?
You do realize you're the one who
Does that
started
lower
it.
it? Oh no, I'm not gonna lower it. I gotta keep it up.
You do know she's married to one now.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the
I
future.
fear for the customers.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl, I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was
My
Shirley.
necklace looks like my necklace. He makes the show of being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he enjoys the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds him of his own family, sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Sore spot, that one topic, one thing he never brings up in any conversation if he can help it, and I've never been the one to need to be nosy. There's some wounds you're not meant to open. For both of us, the sentiment
As
goes
if you
the
ain't
same way.
already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams, but I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in
Still
the
no
air.
closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. Well, there's this one thing.
The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all the reprints the same thing. Miss Wright's distorted head on the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease, even as he gathers all of it into one pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hana, right?
Yeah, how did you...
The locket. She never takes it off. Evan's family heirloom.
I won't even think about asking how or why he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'd already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including...
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He dries the breath, reaches up to his nose and pinches it. Like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue the conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you. You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back in his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this and he'd walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana,
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling
Hana,
into a deep
since
frown.
when were you on a first name basis with the right missus?
why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation is as clear as day. It hits a nerve in me somehow, more than his tone usually does. Alright, where are we at with the relationship? Ooh, that lowers it a lot. Ooh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Patience can be a tough thing to summon at times, but we didn't get this far as friends. Let our own tempers become the lord of us.
Bro, it's really just another freelance work.
He eyes me skeptically, the same stare he reserves for the people he intimidates. I've been on the receiving end of it before, early in our friendship. Years later, he's already got the unimpressed police.
And there's
look down
nothing
pat.
going on with me and Miss Hana. She was just being friendly. Insisted I call her by her first name.
I wasn't implying any of that. You're not that sort of guy.
I know, but let's just get that out of the way. The just-in-case elephant in the room scenario. She's a married woman. She's...
Not with the image she presents in public.
No, but trust me, she ain't any of the things the tabloid writes about her.
Like I read any of those.
I know you don't, but keep it in mind, will you?
Will do. Though I can't promise you'll get off scot-free if she's involved. Man, with how you're acting, it feels like I'm doing a solid for your girlfriend.
Cut that out, will you? And I'm not asking you to. Besides, what's currently going on here is more important.
All right, lay it in.
We're back to it. Counting everything takes the better half of our lunch, but he manages to listen through the entire thing without a snide comment. Feed in itself, actually. At the end of it, Ashley only nods, takes out his phone, and excuses himself. Off in the far corner for some privacy, if you can even afford to have such in a public like this. He returns in a little while and hands me a small card.
I can't stop you if you're willing to believe in this crap. Give this guy a call. You're better off talking to him than me. He's at the public library now if you want to catch him there. He used to be my professor back in the university.
Oh, no, I don't think that...
Go on. I already gave him a heads up. You know I can't help you out, man.
He gives my arm a tap and walks off without mumbling about checking out things are back at the precinct. Disturbed, Zachary decided to show the photographs to Ash. During lunch at the coffee house, they briefly discussed Ash's sister, Zach's sister, before the topic veered to the photos, refusing to believe his friend Ash advised him to talk to Andrew instead. I don't see his face when he leaves, but I know that this is his own way of helping out despite what he doesn't voice out. Okay, I'm wondering if I don't go back to another character at any time. It might just go Iz, Hannah, Zachary, Marianne, Becca, Ashton, Luke, and then be done. Like, Luke may be the last character I play as, and then the story will be over. Or maybe it'll be like through the line, and then go back to Isabella and it's over. I'm guessing Marianne's here. Of all the places it never crossed my mind I'd end up wandering into the public library today, considering I rarely ever visited. Somehow there's always been this kind of disconnect between me and books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times of the day I was left on my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection, as a matter of fact, read all of them twice or thrice even, but they never did hold it for long. Most of them never even sticked. Dude, I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm going to stick random streams of this in and out so that I can play other games. I have no idea. Because currently, like, I've played 4 episodes of this. This is my 4th episode of this, I believe. And I'm on the 3rd person out of 7. So I don't know. That's why this one's going a little longer than I originally planned. I think I'm actually going to play, like, Fortnite or Overwatch for a couple games after this. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I want to learn stuff. Well, good, I'm glad you're not bored of it. I'm really interested. Like I said, I love visual novels, and this one's a horror one, which is actually really rare. It ain't the plan in the first place. Of course, there's Doki Doki Literature Club. If you haven't played that, you should play that, because that is actually an amazing... It's so well done. And you can play it on anything. I convinced my buddy to play it, and he absolutely refuses to play anything, visual novel or anything. But he played through the whole thing one night and was texting me the entire time, and it was actually hilarious. But after Ashton went through trouble to contact the professor, I can't just ignore it. Nothing but quiet greets me inside, though. Not the typical mum one associated with the library, but one akin to the hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think I'm thinking just too much about this, and this is just the lack of sleep talking. Regardless, apart from the group of students murmuring in the corner somewhere, the place is free of usual visitors, all while my footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs on the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it doesn't take me long to find him, being the only occupant on this side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. Andrew Clark! I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he's Ash's go-to guy when something's troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile like a grandson he has.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh, no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns his books. Next couple minutes pass in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Perhaps I should have taken a book first before heading here, but before I can even get far into that idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop
Ashton
the stack
told
next to
me
him.
you were hoping to get answers from me, although I'm not quite sure what I could share.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess? Is the first among tens, hundreds of concerns in my head, but the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He's nothing but patient, however, and with the time to mull it over a question.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different
Yes,
things.
they are.
The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to.
Exactly.
Here.
He places a couple papers in front of me, the same ones he was writing on earlier. I like this guy already. Story of Luxburn's supernatural culture. in
A friend of mine
nutshell.
wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even. Out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Ah, here it is.
Another book is pulled from the stack and placed atop the papers while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes these to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon hours pass
In the
without my
end,
notice.
it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the wraith. A sad tale, that one. But the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde Mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house, but my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Well, what about these then?
There's a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Miss Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Just the other day.
I feel like the voice of the professor is some young guy trying to sound like an old professor.
Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
You see what I mean, though? Like, listening to him. He sounds like a young guy trying to sound old.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but
Some people might deserve it, however.
deserve what,
Wow,
sir?
rude. All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat. Wait a second. Backlog. Scrolling way up. I'm going to before this. Case was dismissed. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark's given up on that. Okay. This is the same Clark.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do.
Yeah, like an action trailer, that's it. Like the guy from Honest Trailers, but not as deep.
You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. Zachary met with Professor Andrew Clark at the library. The professor shared a few of his favorite stories about the city, including friends' research about urban legends. When Zach showed Hannah's distorted photos, the professor only warned him not to be reckless, and some people deserve what's coming for them. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me and every piece of this whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there is even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today I really can't care about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it and find myself looking at the paper under my grip. An invitation and a request to cover an event, the Wright's housewarming party tomorrow evening. Raise your glasses, give cheers to good times. No, raise your glasses, give cheers to the good times. You're cordially invited to the Wright's housewarming party. October 28th, 2016, Friday. 3 o'clock in the afternoon onwards, Ermengarde Mansion. I don't know what those letters are. Something. Is that something W? Is that an H? Is that supposed to be Hannah Wright? Well, it's not an L. I don't think it's an L. It's probably not an L. If it only were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her about that thing in her house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of my bed with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow, and my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of ghosts. Belatedly, it occurs to me the last meal I ate would be the one with Ashton. And an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't make myself stand up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly, a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that letter, everything's been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, it's the one thing that hasn't changed. October 29th. More hums. So we're here. This is where she finds the locket. We're skipping the party again. We're up to here. And we're moving slowly. Halloween, of course, is going to be the base of this whole game, as always. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pause, firm but meaningful gaze, miles, wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset. The distinct smell of wet earth that leaves after a long day's rain in our room. The room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy, the place where we once promised several springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is. The walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa. I can't hear Pa. Above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting, soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear, but when the light breaks, it's the girl. Skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotting in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash. Bony hands gripped like a noose. Yada yada yada. Same lines as before. The scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant. Ooh boy. Every limb heavy with lead, unable to move at all. Yeah, really. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of breath easily fills the room in the wee hours while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst out. Something cold has settled on my legs. Ugh. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with a passing breeze, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every stroke I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs, tighter and tighter and tighter, all until it becomes too much. My heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings the iron tang of blood, thick, suffocating, rolling my nose. The smell as I shift my gaze downwards and it slowly comes into view. I knew she would be clinging. Mouth stretched in a hideous smile. Oh, that's horrifying. And eyes brimming with nothing but madness. The stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away. Is she getting closer? Permit her the terror and the death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. I try to open my mouth to shout, to ask for any help, but the voices left my body altogether. All I have is painful realization that no plea will save me from her. Then suddenly the bed dips. Lovely. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There's no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing limbs, just a painful constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. The blanket? I waste no second pulling a blanket away, but allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting off the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, they're no longer the small crispy flashes I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, and her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. The bench of the park is by far the most private place for thoughts in Luxburn. I thought I saw a shiny. But in the early hours of the morning, enough peace and quiet for any poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city's waking up a little later than usual, but knowing what day it is, one can't fault him for being a little tardy just this once. Yet neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to banish the images. Every single one has rooted itself in my head. Its claws digging deep in what I think is no longer a safe place to hide it.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling
I hate
down.
that song.
London
It used to be easy
Bridge
finding
is
some few
falling
bits of
down.
peace under the guise of
My
sheer
fair
optimism
lady.
following regular routine.
Take a key
Now
and lock
I
him
don't
up.
know what to make
Lock
of it.
him up.
Sometimes
lock
it's easier
him
to
up.
run,
Take a
easier to
key
hide when
and
everything's
lock
falling
him up.
apart the way you
My
don't have to be the first to
fair
witness it
lady.
when it does.
London Bridge is
Works when
falling
things went
down,
from bad with the
falling
movie.
down,
After all, it also worked
falling
with Mount
down.
Power taken from us.
London
Maybe it's really
Bridge.
better
Hey,
for us.
mister.
You're very tiny. Nursery rhymes are really screwed up. Rockabye Baby, Ring Around the Rosie, all of them. It drives my one buddy nuts, the one I play video games with, because when we go out to places, if he ever like goes off by himself and I go off by myself somewhere and then I'm back to him before he's back to me, I start whistling Ring Around the Rosie really slow and he's just constantly looking around. He goes, I know you're here. But we've determined that nursery rhymes are probably the best form of fear for anything ever. When I look up, a little girl, maybe 6 or 7, is peering at me, 2 wide eyes overflowing with only what can be natural curiosity one typically sees in children. I vaguely note the St. Goretti uniform she's wearing before returning her greeting.
Hey, kid.
Kylie.
Kylie.
Kylie?
Hi, Kylie. Yeah, no, he's said that before, actually. He's gone, Demon, come out! Actually, he said devil, I think.
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their
Mama.
names.
She then flops down on the empty space beside me, her little legs still too short to touch the ground, swinging tuned to the song she hums under her breath. I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite the ones in our old neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then, Sis and I were too old to play with them, but you get used to the commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as most people would imply. Kylie seems to be well-behaved kid anyway.
Sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park, the one closest to the street, where a kid taking shots of something above them. Doesn't look to be birds because all that's on that side of the park are
I don't
buildings.
see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cuter. Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa we aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
All right, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile spread over my face. They say kids ask the toughest questions sometimes, and they sure do with how sincere Kylie looks. Lying to her feels like
No,
doing her a huge
Not
disservice.
sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
Why is that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
That is quite obviously an adult woman making that voice. but
Yeah,
that makes it even funnier.
I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's given my friends and I a lot of trouble. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Well, it's like, have you ever, like, that's a fake voice. There's no way that's not a fake voice. I've seen enough voice acting to know that's a fake voice.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with
But,
you?
Have you ever, like, there are some people who naturally have voices like that. Have you ever watched Lily Pichu on YouTube? Her voice is impressive.
I highly
Certainly say
doubt that. She already hurt one of my friends.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I don't know. I don't know where she came from. She plays a lot of League of Legends. That's all I know. I've watched like 2 of her videos, but her voice is just... It's an anime voice. Let's just put it that way. No, she's Asian. She's not blonde. She has some color in her hair. I can't remember. She may have changed it now. I have no idea. No, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of who it is. It's not Sarah Silverman, but she's the one who does. She's the one who plays all the kids' voices in shows, in movies, and yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But no, I know who you're talking about. I've seen the Vine before. I just didn't cross my mind. But yeah, I've seen that before. No, it's not her. It's a different girl.
I still think there's another reason. Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
I don't think that'll work either.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan. You're just scared, mister.
That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone or simply the truth. I don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh, loud enough to disturb the elderly couple taking
Why
a leash
are
of
you
walk
laughing?
nearby.
That's nothing. You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Go full speed ahead, then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once Dr. Navarro said I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up to our next appointment after that, but he's right. And though I hate to admit it, knowing what I've seen, the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up thinking there may be not a way out. There might not be a way out. That was a hard sentence. Maybe there isn't, or maybe there is, but that doesn't mean I should just leave it up to fate. Our spirit's supposed to be humans before too. Had people they cared about lived a life of their own, smiled and laughed like the rest of us does. Did they really lose that all after
You better
that?
get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright. Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
In the distance, her brother calls for her, and I take that as a sign to leave. Got things to do to face the first few steps. This
Nah,
way.
I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go, but you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will. Thanks, mister. Bye.
You have blue hair. That is unnatural. I give her a little pat on the head before heading my small gesture of thanks from a stranger she didn't know she might have helped. She may not understand it now, even though at such a young age she already has this understanding of things. Maybe when she's older, when the world no longer seems
But
too big
aren't you
for her.
going to help me, mister?
With what?
Confused, I glance back at the girl. Whatever cheer our little talk brought has vanished under the shadows suddenly dancing in my eyes. The frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcome.
What do you
and the
think,
kid-
mister? Are you going to help me?
Devils
What do
in
you
the
want from
details.
us?
The response never comes, however, because when I blinked, gone.
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
For several passing seconds, I let my stare linger on her face, waiting for any sign of another change. But all that remains is the carefree smile of a child. Nothing of the spite, nothing of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing. I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
I'm sure you will. I break into a run. I don't look back, not even as I bump into a couple passers-by as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. Going insane, that's what it is. Zachary's nightmares have become worse each passing day. To help clear his mind of the unwanted images, Zach visits the park. There he meets Kylie Suarez, a precocious young girl studying at St. Coretti. And if we don't do something soon, we all will be. Nice thing is, I've genuinely said before, and of all people, my parents believe me for some reason. I've said before, I can't think of any like, thing that I'm genuinely scared of. I don't... Like, I've never been scared by movies. Well, I mean, when I was little, of course, I'm sure I was. But never really affected me. And, like, at this point in my life, there's not many things I'm afraid of. I honestly can't think of them. Like, my one friend is scared of sharks, and I'm like, I would hug a shark. I want to hold a shark. Crocodiles, fire, lightning, whatever. At this point, I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. It's whatever. I'm not afraid of falling. I don't like heights, which is kind of ironic given how tall I am. But that's more because, I don't know. It's not really fear. It's just, I don't see the point. I guess. It's a weird way to say it, but yeah, I'm not really scared much. Let's just end it there. Thomas follow me even as I get home. That's why I like to watch horror movies so much, because I don't get the same thrill that everybody else gets, and I just analyze them constantly. I read a lot of horror, I play a lot of horror, I watch a lot of horror, if I can. Indeed, I'm assaulted with more images of her. Her smile, the loathing in her eyes, the stench of gore, the horrid crunch that comes with every movement she makes. Even old memories have been sullied by her, and Ma's song no longer sounds as sweet as it's meant to be. In the end, all I get is a sinking feeling I'll never be rid of her image, and another ridiculous idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back. And for the first time, coming home feels more like a chore, only I didn't arrive to an empty room, because as soon as I open the door, I'm greeted by none other than...
Sup, Z-Man?
I told you we should have called him before going here.
It's fine.
It's Ashton I see first, sitting comfortably on my couch, munching on a bag of chips with both feet propped atop the coffee table. Whatever proverbial stone has made a home in the pit of my stomach automatically flies right out the window at the sight of him. But before any exasperation can set in, my attention is taken by the other occupant. Isabella perches on the only other chair in the room, attempting to make herself smaller, it seems, from how closely she's hugging her arms to herself. Nevertheless, she gives me a small smile when she notices my stare. Yet somehow there ain't any warmth in it like it's supposed to have.
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
So you'd stop
Only
breaking
after
laws.
you broke the 13th
Yeah.
one. I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment. And stop calling me Z-Man.
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because
Yeah.
I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to.
Yeah, oh, dude, they're way too predictable. But at the same time, like, what interests me, the few things I get passionate about a couple of games that are like, I get really passionate about books and characters. But one of the things that interests me most is mythology and cryptozoology, which is basically the study of animals that aren't supposed to exist, like dragons, unicorns. What else can I think of? I can think of a lot of like obscure ones, quilongs, Nessies, which that's just a general term. Yeah, jump scares are just cheap. I did like the Five Nights at Freddy's game because I appreciate the lore of it. The next Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out is being done by Blumhouse and Chris Columbus, so it better be good or they're gonna have a big strike on their record. They're so good otherwise. But yeah, no, they're so predictable. But the reason I like it is because I appreciate the lore and I appreciate the creation of the characters more than I appreciate the story itself. You know what I mean? That's why I like the new horror movies that come out usually from Blumhouse. If they're from Blumhouse, they're usually good. I liked Don't Breathe because it was a great premise and it was very tense the whole time you were watching it. I loved It because I've read It before. And it was such a good book. Stephen King is so good at horror. But yeah, I mean, I like it because of the creation of the characters. I don't like it because it's scary, like some people do.
Hey, is that my...
Ash smirks at me because of course he has the gall to smirk knowing what he did. He pops in what is very likely the last piece of chip into his mouth and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it in the nearby trash. From her chair, Isabella shoots me an apologetic smile as soon as the foil hits the waste bin with a dull thunk. Common sense dictates I should be angry, but after everything, having something normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish their antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a tidbit of it. Behind me, the television starts playing the music for the end credits of a movie. They've likely been waiting for a while if Ash has gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch
Of course
something.
he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? But it's free food, you know? What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food? What happened?
I like comedy. In all honesty, I watch a lot of horror movies by myself, and I watch a lot of romantic comedies with my mom because we both think they're absolutely hilarious. I can't watch stupid movies. I have a hard time with stupid movies. There are very few stupid movies I actually enjoy. I liked Naked Gun. I liked Ridiculous 6, but that's about it. I can't do stupid movies too well. The other comedic movies, yeah, I love them. Proposal was hilarious. That was Ryan Reynolds. Anything, yeah, oh, Deadpool was amazing. Deadpool is one of the best movies I have ever seen, and Deadpool 2, I am waiting eagerly and impatiently for it to come out. But yeah, Deadpool's like one of the best movies I've ever seen, and Ryan Reynolds is an absolute genius.
No, I'm just not hungry.
Ash only shrugs at the question in my eyes. I can't be the only one who finds the vibe she's given off to be odd, and this guy's no doubt already caught wind of it.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, it'd do. Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for.
Becca's missing.
Ash,
I don't know.
he's the one who...
No, he said something and she said something and Ash is bringing her here. Every trace of amusement is gone from his face as he clasps his hands in front of him and leans forward. Any minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
All right, you two, what's this about? I don't like those looks. What I said was weird. I'm aware of that, but I'm not taking it back. Isabella's not the only one here who's seen it.
A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I'd wait with these two. The more you force it, the more they'll clamp down. But as a handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. I've never seen Game of Thrones. I've never seen one episode of Game of Thrones. Soon it turns into impatience. Before I can demand a response, one of them finally speaks up.
I'm not asking
Dash.
you to. No, you're right. There really are some odd things going on here lately.
How is everything with you lately, Zach?
Hold on, Ash. Both of you. Did I just hear you say that? Is this why Isabella's here? Has something happened?
Calm down, we're just here to check on things. So, did you meet Andrew about the photos?
What photographs?
Said photographs have been sitting untouched since the day I dumped them in my drawer. Isabella goes very still when I show her the small stack. Yeah, no, I like medieval stuff too. It's just, I've never watched it. Just never gotten into it. To her credit, she does not flinch like I'm expecting her to. She flips through each of it in silence. But while her eyes remain strangely calm, her hands have gone rigid and her mouth is set into a thin line. She, out of all people, understands what this means. In hindsight, she should have been the one I approached.
What did Andrew
before
say
Ash.
about
Yeah,
them?
that's what I said.
It could be one, but there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen. So, that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even?
I pause, glancing at him skeptically. I don't know what this sudden curiosity is coming from. But if Ashton, calm, cool, and collected, always logical, Ashton takes interest in this something or someone must have messed something up somewhere, or the world is ending. Seconds pass. The apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with it doesn't arrive,
Yeah,
however.
that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kinda nasty if you ask me, but it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, understandable, dude. I like magic stuff because I like supernatural, paranormal, but I completely understand that. That's how a lot of the people I know are. Just not interested.
Why are you asking about this anyway?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with... I may have...
Wait, stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something. Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
So Marianne is next, then Becca, then Ash. Okay, so Ash is second.
Are you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got
This is-
taken off that one.
Ooh.
You didn't say you were taken off your case.
I just got the news this morning. Apparently, the higher-ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it. It doesn't matter, though. If these two cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track.
Are you sure we should even be doing this?
Doing what exactly?
There's someplace we'll
We're
visit
gonna
after
break
this.
into the Ermengarde.
Too vague for comfort, Ash. And please don't tell me you're bringing her with you.
His affirmation comes in the form of a stare, but that alone says all I need to know. What I pointed out gives him a pause, though, and his voice is thick with hesitation when he addresses
You know what?
Isabella.
Zach's right, Isabella. You don't have to come with me.
It's not myself I'm worried about. It's you. I'll just do this myself, if it'll get you into more trouble with your superiors. At least I can make up an excuse why I need to be there.
Don't be ridiculous. You're not walking in there without me. Besides, I think it's a little too late to back out now. Have you two seen the news this morning?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
Changing the air around her, while small, cannot have gone unnoticed, and it takes every willpower not to ask. Probably the only thing reining in my curiosity is the fact that Ash himself hasn't brought it
No
up
problem.
yet.
It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Oh, yay. Help me, 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 help me. Grips the remote and cycles through numerous channels until he gets to a news report about another guy who's been found dead, burned alive this time. Oddly, no fire spread, and whatever damage has been contained in the place the body was found. The room itself has been completely vandalized. Help me, help me, help me. Another murder, the authorities claimed. Isabel and I know better. None of us shifts even after the report ends, but the room just suddenly felt stifling. Ash's eyes have gone hooded over what appears to be restrained anger, and the remote in his hands creaks mildly under his grip. The stone is back in my stomach, a tiny little thing gripping at my insides, growing with every passing second as the dread sinks in. In the thick of it, Isabella's voice is the one that breaks the hush. A small, weak thing on its own that wavers unevenly between words, but every syllable heavy with meaning.
This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow.
When it fades, all that's left is her doubt and fear, and all we can do is cope. Well, I gotta be nice though. Like, okay, Isabella, little, Ash, a lot. We can
It
fix
ain't too
this.
late. We could still fix this.
Isabella, more,
There's three
Ash,
of us here.
same. Stay silent. Isabella, little. Oh no, it boosts, it boosts, it boosts, it boosts, it boosts, it boosts, it boosts.
It ain't too late. We could still fix this. There's three of us here. Four if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this.
Well, you showed her the note too. She lifts her gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared. She holds it against the baffled look I give her. Although in the next second it immediately softens and it takes me by surprise nevertheless. In those brief moments, it's like I faced a
I
different
don't want to
person.
involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well.
I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking.
Still in all, that's two extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us three, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon.
Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with.
It ain't. But better than sitting around, yeah? Plan is still a plan.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who's doing this.
Yeah, that's a lot of what people have said about Game of Thrones. One guy I know who watches it is like dying inside because he's like, there's not enough. They're not going to do enough, but somebody said it was going to be 2-hour episodes or something ridiculous like that.
The last two murders might just be similar incidents done by two different suspects.
Hasn't stopped you from going after them before. Remember that time when you...
Okay, stop right there. There will be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man.
Stop calling me Z-Man.
Or ever.
Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will.
Yeah, I don't think it was Hound that told me about it, but I think it was somebody else I knew, but I don't remember who it is. I think it's somebody from my old high school or something. Suddenly Isabella laughs, so muffled by her hands, it rings light and easy against the thick tension in the room. Still a far cry from the usual cheers she carries, but brings a welcome shift in the otherwise
you
dreary
too.
mood.
I'll tell you about it when he's not around.
Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested.
Who says I'm not?
Ash makes a face but chuckles at the jest.
Why am I even
despite
friends with you two?
And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. They take their leave at mere minutes close to sundown, but regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of what they're aiming to do after. Well, it ain't any of my business to know. Something about the whole thing still gnaws me. A tiny passing thought urges me to do something as well. This hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to them as they step out of the crowded walkway, however. Ash especially. It's only his goal in mind, and I'd wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided long before he made the decision to drop by, but despite this, Isabella lags behind, a worried crease in the back of her forehead as she is back on her forehead. I looked at that again. In the back of her forehead as she watches Ash leave.
Something wrong, Bella?
No, Actually, can you take on Becca for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I'm headed off to. Tell her I'm okay,
Right.
and we're...
Here we go.
No, just that. That's all.
You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a
My
stomachache
guess
just
is we're
thinking
about
about
to
it.
reach the end of the Zachary
Neither do
line.
I, but I'll handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too.
Something's
Take
gonna
care of
happen.
yourself.
Almost abruptly, she pauses, the gaze in her eyes hardening as she lapses into another one of those long-distance silences from earlier. This ain't just because of the whole
I
fiasco with the
don't
letter.
want what
anymore.
happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well.
This one cut deeper. Before I can ask, Ashton returns, casually swinging his car keys on one
Come
hand
on,
and
we don't have much
gestures
time.
at his.
Shirley's waiting.
Who's sure? Don't answer that. I don't want to hear it, you huge dork.
Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat? Really?
It's cute. Yours
That's
is just
awesome,
weird.
actually.
I'll see you
Back
later,
out,
Zach.
good vibes. She spares me another smile as I watch her walk off, only now did it occur to me that none of those she gave today ever did reach her eyes. And make a grab for the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly before correcting himself.
Is she all right?
Confused stare.
What? Who's okay?
Isabella, she's been, I don't know, out of it today? Did something happen earlier?
Scowl on his face says
She's
no.
actually been like that this morning. I'll ask, but
Just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her, but from how she's been doing today, whatever it is, seems like a pretty big deal. Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God, if you did, you've got another thing coming for you.
what? No. Why would I?
I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the letter this time.
I'll see what I can do.
Make sure you keep yourself out of harm's way.
Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again.
Reckless, no. But I can't make you the promise I won't do
You're
anything.
gonna
After
go check
seeing
out
that,
Becca first, and she's
there's
going
no
to be
way in hell I'm
danger,
going
then
to
it's
pretend
to
that
cut
this
out
is a
for
really
Marianne.
big one. And I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
He's about to argue for a
Look,
moment.
bro,
but
if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, aight? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want, but please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
No idea if it's the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, though, his mouth presses to a thin
All
line
right.
and nods. We're on the 29th. Upon returning to his apartment, Zachary was greeted by Ash and Isabella. Now suspicious of what was happening, Ashton informed Zach that he and Isabella will try to get to the bottom of this. He also warned Zach to be careful. That's the necklace. Okay. He stumbles into the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole. I'd like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is close we can get to optimism. Whether that alone will be enough to give me peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. Check on Becca. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. With her image still stuck in my head, flashing every few moments, it catches me off guard, with Ma's lullaby still echoing in my ears. No longer the soft tune it once was. The terrible gnawing in the pit of my stomach. It's no wonder I can't bring myself to drift off even for a little while. It's not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for sleep to come, if it ever will. And that's not 2:45 in the morning. I find myself cleaning my photography equipment for no reason other than to pass time. Though if I'm going to be honest, it's not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope I'll hear from Asher is soon. And for what's perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still. I've not heard from them since they left. They haven't promised to call, of course, but a small part of me wishes they would have the common sense at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and the concern stretching out the minutes far longer than usual. It's impossible for more unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. Moreover, it doesn't help when the clock strikes 3. Oh, yay. My hand stills. It'll be a complete and utter lie to say my heart didn't leap straight from my throat in that brief second. My whole body has gone motionless, ears straining for further sounds. A couple of tense seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, how old the building I'm staying in is. Power fluctuations ain't anything new. Every now and then this would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Nothing unusual for more than a few years of living here. But at the time, a sudden hush brings with it stillness that raised the hair on the back of my neck and set my heart beating hard against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and in an instant the place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fiber in my being screams at me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lay down all my cleaning tools and begin gathering together the rest of my things scattered about on the table. The camera's body, lenses, filters, diffuser, phone, anything my hand could reach, but in the resulting panic, like the nightmares, it's the scent that reaches me first, a foul putrid smell filling my lungs with a heavy stink of death. My fingers clamp tightly to the camera, holding it close to my body as if the tiny thing would provide enough protection to whatever is with me in the room at home, but it's the only comfort I have. Knowing that whoever she is, she had once been human. Perhaps not all of it is gone. Perhaps some of it's still there.
I know you're in here.
I know, right?
What do you
Allergic
want?
to tomatoes. Something moves behind me. See, that's what it is. It's not gashes and blood. It's tomato juice, and she's allergic, and she needs an EpiPen or something. Something moves behind me, a soft scuttling over the walls. Ugh. Scuttling, followed by the squelch and painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers and camera ready, patiently waiting for more movement.
I can help you. Whatever it is that keeps you here, I can help. That's what the letter's for, ain't it? You don't have to keep taking people's
lives. There's a brief moment of silence after him. For a short while, I think my pleas work. Then, with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it, the sobs of the women. Hello. The light flashes fleetingly one last time, allowing me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it is once again lost in the darkness. All of a sudden, her tune changes, no longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek brimming with pain, grief, and anger. Every ounce of courage I'd mustered flees from my body at the sound, and the next thing I know, my hand is gripping the knob and I'm wrenching the door open. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. Pacing has always been more of Ash's thing than mine. When I want to think, I sit and let the minutes tick by until an idea comes to my mind or a pulse settles down, and yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass at them. Terror is too mild to describe what it is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is pleading won't work. The moment we saw that letter, she's
But
been
I
after
can't
us.
run. Not this time.
Nearly 2 hours have gone by since I left the comfort of my room for the solitude of the park. 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one's answering, not even Becca, who always has kept her phone line open in case other people need her. Or Isabella, who frequently checks hers for any messages and readily responds as soon as she can afford. It does not help that Ash hasn't said a word of where he went off to as well.
I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave.
Knowing him, he can be anywhere, but there's really only one place he'll likely be at this time. The sun has already peaked over the horizon when I make it to the mansion. I have no idea what I'm expecting when I get there. There's Ashton first and foremost. Part of me wishes my assumptions are correct and he's really somewhere close by, but I've never been the lucky sort when it comes to guessing. And even after I've made a round of the immediate vicinity, I could find neither hide nor hair of him. Calling him does no good either, considering how awful the signal here is. He can't be too far if he's really here, but if he is, he would already notice me by now. Instead, there's only silence. Kind of too quiet to find any sort of comfort in, even if the trees have seemed to fall asleep with the rest of the mansion, oblivious to what's happening around it, a small island of stillness in the otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole town of Ansem feels at odds with the rest of Luxburn. While the city is alive, growing every minute, breathing every second, and pulsating with life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not surprising the legend still lives to this day, and why she's still here, walking its hallowed halls. Why does my nose itch so much? And beyond me, the mansion looms ominously, but now ain't the time for fear. Even if Ash is not here, I've still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home, and whatever grievance Ash has with them, it doesn't matter. They might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve the brutal death at the hands of one malicious spirit. And I'm sure Isabella would want the same thing. I head straight for the door without a second thought. It takes a few rings, the loud sound above the foreboding stillness before I hear footsteps on the other side. Is it Ma'am Hannah?
Get it? Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour. Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Oh, it's Luke. Before long, the door swings open with Mr. Luke Wright standing behind it. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him. I like the black cloud around him. Like this, I got no doubt why Ash would find the suspect.
How the hell did you get in here? What in 7 hells do you want?
7 hells?
It's bloody 6 in the morning!
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't! Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep. Come back when people are actually awake. or I'll call security on you.
Before I can get a word in, he slams the door and bolts it
Wait,
closed
sir,
by now.
you gotta hear me out. You're both in danger if you stay in there. Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence.
Only silence answers me. Maybe if it was Miss Ray. Oh, who am I kidding? There are limits to how far a person will believe in you. Then again, I didn't believe in Isabella when she warned us. Now I'm here desperately trying to save people. I'm not even aware it's completely out of my own capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is a horrible way of turning things around. Taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless.
You're around, ain't you? You here? Inside this house? Listening? Watching? Or whatever it is that you spirits do? What did they do to you? I can help you, you know? If it'll let you move on, I'll gladly do so. You don't have to kill anyone.
Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to or if the same person's supposed to be doing that. C-Star, that's kind of the point I'm at. I wouldn't be too sad if he disappeared. The only thing I got after is a feeling of foolishness washing over me. Or perhaps it's just me losing my mind. Out of the other options and any other ideas, I let my hand slide off the door surface and fall listlessly to my sides. I can go back to Luxburg and try to find the others, try to get out of this mess with them. I'll let them know how much. Deep trouble we're all in. Both sound good. Either way, my loitering here ain't helping us at all. I let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up and heading out to fetch my bike. Quite a distance to Luxburg, but if I hurry, I'll reach it maybe. The rustling stops as soon as I turn around and straighten my ears.
Yo, Ash, you there?
No answer. If he is here, I've just missed him earlier. Already my feet are moving in search of him for the second time. It won't hurt to double check, triple check even. With how big the property is, he can be anywhere. If things ain't so urgent, if they ain't so dire as our lives are at stake, I'll probably just waited for him to show up again.
But damn it! He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with.
That it's just not a petty criminal he can throw in jail. That it's something beyond the authority his police badge could ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the hero, sit down and chill. My breathing comes in short, shallow gasps by the time I make it back to where I started. Still no sign of him, and I'm beginning to think I'm wasting my time. But that's when I hear it. I'd recognize the melody in a heartbeat, Mom's favorite song. I listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly in the house it's coming from. My steep feet start moving before I stop them. And there, in a circle in the corner, from a room on the first floor. A single window is open, but I can't make out whoever's inside. However, I'm sure the singing comes from there, and why I hear an old tune here of all places I won't know. It's not an obscure song by any means, but it's pretty rare to find someone who knows this. And for some reason, Death seems to follow the song around. Panic lodges itself at the base of my throat for once. Whoever's humming it might be. I don't want to be the pessimist now, but on the off chance that it is Miss Wright, I shouldn't just barge in there. I can put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me the exact same words. Might even write me a dissertation on why it's a bad idea if he owns Lizzie. Someone could be in danger. I should keep looking for Ash. I can search for Ash, but what if it's too late with how big this place is? That and the cries grow louder in my ear the longer they linger. I'm gonna die, but I set it up. Still, I've got to try, funnily enough. For a couple as high profile, they don't seem to have any security detail. A few guards here and there. But one will expect they have more considering the size of my place. Works to my advantage. Windows wide enough for me to fit without making noise. There's no going back now. Boy, you got that right. But as soon as I step into the parlor, all of it ceases, and I find no trace of the woman I heard crying. The room is still empty at this time of the morning, and I'm left standing awkwardly in the middle of a hush.
Hello? I heard someone earlier, and I'm here to help.
Be still, my beating heart. I let the question hang in the air, but several seconds go by without a word or the slightest movement. Has been there with the stories I've heard, things I've seen. It takes an effort to keep my brain.
I'm not going to hurt you. If you're here, say something.
Nothing. Am I just hearing things? No, I'm pretty sure I heard someone, but with no one responding, I can't help but feel silly, and the awareness that I've trespassed into a house for nothing, because some voice prickles at me. Suddenly, the silence feels uncomfortable, like a needling anxiety slowly creeps up my back. I should get out while I can. Spare another glance through the room out the window before.
I thought I heard a servant moving around here. Turns out it's just a rat scurrying about.
Ooh.
How unpleasant.
My heart shoots up into my throat. I can run the windows a few steps away. I should be able to escape, but instead, I turn around. Perhaps it's the impression the guy left on me from the few times we met. It's nothing but unsettling.
This ain't what you think it is.
You're quite the distance from the kitchen, I'm afraid.
Wow,
Perhaps
that's rude.
I should lead you there.
Someone's in here before me. I wasn't here for what you're thinking. There was sobbing and...
First blow knocks the wind out of me. Ooh, boy. Tears well up and pain swells.
You gotta listen to me.
Then again, dirty thieves aren't welcome in my kitchen either.
For a moment, there's only silence. And a woman crying, asking for help. I know no more. The Pain is the worst when I come to a sharp piercing ache somewhere at the back of my head, begging to be noticed. Terrified Zachary went looking for Ashton in the Ermengarde mansion. He also tried to warn Luke Wright. After hearing a quiet woman, he sneaked into the mansion but was unfortunately spotted by the butler. Begging to be noticed, but it's nothing I can't handle. Clearly, I opened my eyes expecting to be greeted by sunlight. However, the walls are unfamiliar. That's the longest I've let it go, but I think I'm going to switch paths because I don't want to be... No, you know what, I'll continue for now. Wait, was that called Curiosity Killed the Cat? Oh, no. Wait, I'm going to stay here for a minute. When everything comes into focus, I recognize the place. A cell, dark, cramped, with only light from the moon coming inside. Memories of mansion, Ashton, familiar tune, woman crying.
Still better than
a morgue. Cramps in my shoulders, stop when a sudden movement. Acute
Damn, they got me good. What time is it?
It's expected they'd taken everything. Protocol is protocol. First place, ending up in a cell was not on my agenda. First time wasn't pleasant, considering who's likely put me in here. It could be much worse. Bars are cold. Looking for a person on duty. The hallway in front of the cell is empty, but voices float from further in. Judging from the snippets of conversation, moron who thought it wise to cross the rights. Use other names. Liam,
excuse me. Excuse me!
Blood freezes in my veins as the grip on the bar tightens. I don't dare turn. I'm afraid I might see who's singing it. A death song, that's what it is now, but I guess it's always been. If this is the aunt's calling, I prefer it's not.
Oh, Zach, sweetie. Don't you love this song?
My head snaps up in surprise as I see Miss Wright of all people sitting in the cot. Her smile is easy and sweet as ever. When Zachary finally regained... Whoa, that's quite the picture. Regained consciousness after being knocked out, finds himself locked up in precinct. Hannah Wright gives him a little visit.
Miss Wright, what are you... how did you...
I jostle the cell door to check. A prison break is the last thing on my mind, of course, but her presence here begs a lot of puzzling questions. Locked tight. Was I
Don't
just
be
too guarded
surprised,
and-
darling. Money and power can get you anything.
She has a point. Out of all people, she knows more than anyone how to play that game. You have to hear it out of her. It's like talking to a different person. Don't bring it up. Perhaps she's just having a bad day or a tiff with her husband. It's the incident at the party, but it won't be surprising. Anyone can say the strangest things when they're
You ain't supposed to be here, Miss Wright.
Why ever not? Isn't it comfortable here?
Well, it is, kinda. But you're still not supposed to be on... Besides, it's too early.
Oh, I'm sure Chief Inspector Lee wouldn't mind a little chat between facades. His prison officers just snoring in the break room.
She presses a lock of hair off her shoulder and meanders around the cell. As if this is a simple stroll in the park. To check every scratch. Nevertheless, I make myself small against the corner. Any closer and we'll be crossing into each other's personal spaces. Frankly, that's
Be
more
that
than I'm
as it
comfortable
may.
with.
They have cameras here, too. How are you going to explain that when they check?
That doesn't matter, dear.
It does. Your popularity ain't going to give you any kind of immunity from the law. I appreciate the visit, but I'd rather not see you get into trouble.
Makes her stop. But just as I'm
You
starting to
don't
think
want to
I've
get
reason-
out of here.
Of course I do. But you don't have to do anything. It's my fault. I'll find a way out of this mess.
You did bring it to yourself.
This really is just a misunderstanding, Hannah. I didn't mean to trespass. If you'll just listen to the whole story, you'll know I didn't mean to do it.
I'm really disappointed in you.
Look straight at her, the sudden change of tone, checking any sense I've upset her. Of course she would be. She'd had every right to do so. After all the talk, the little attempts to build friendship, here I went and broke into another person's house or home. So many levels it's still wrong. Her anger doesn't come as I'm expecting it to, however. Instead, she smiles. A horrid smile. I don't
Breaking
think I'd
into
ever
our
seen.
home. Disturbing my love in his sleep. You've upset my Prince Zach. You've really upset him.
Hannah?
Panic swells, rippling up my spine. Irrational, I know you shouldn't feel this way about anyone you know. But here I am backing away. I'm afraid, wholly afraid of her, St. Hannah. Bars rattle as soon as my shoulders hit it. A hindrance, not
Has
hindrance,
anyone
St.
ever told you how beautiful those eyes of yours are?
My Nana? Occasionally my sister. Hannah? You alright?
She laughs. Deranged thing coming from her. There's no cheer, no warmth, only spite.
Makes me want to take them home. Wrap them in those pretty ribbons I have in my vanity. I'm pretty sure my prince would love it, don't you think, Zachary? A little gift from me.
Stay away from me!
She moves in short, sudden, bone-crunching twitches that are too painful for me to watch. I want to look away, but I can't. I'm screaming for help before I know it, jolting by
Somebody! Get me out of here! Anyone, please!
Bugger off! Some people are trying to get some sleep here!
No! She's here! You've gotta let me out! She's gonna kill me! Someone!
Oh, you poor thing. Don't you worry. You won't even feel the pain.
I've unlocked a memory fragment. Wait, what? Oh, no. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna load that. I'm gonna see what happens if I search for Zach instead. Ash instead. That's his name. Mind your own business. In the end, the rational part of my brain wore out. I'm sassy. I'm gonna skip that because I don't trust it, and I don't want him to die. If that was a choice and he was going to die, I'm not gonna have that happen. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out, the half that spent too much time around Ash. It's right, though, the reasonable part. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how am I supposed to fight back? With my camera? No matter where you look, that's simply asking for a painful death. You got that right. No matter where you look at it, it's painful
I have
death.
a better chance if I find Ash. What is he snooping about?
Perhaps I should try the forest. Maybe make a round in the gardens. Not a sound plan, but better than nothing. Sobs have faded at this point, almost inaudible, to the point where I'm wondering what I've really heard. Didn't get to dwell much at all because my phone rings.
Are you?
I only caught the tail end of the greeting on the other side.
What was that, Ash?
The voice
Could you repeat? The signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer?
Why are you even... No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place, and hurry.
I shift my gaze to the mansion, especially at the window. I heard the cries from. There's nothing.
How
going on.
urgent?
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
Oh, he said, please.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two, tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. I like this story better. The terrified Zach, when looking for them, tried to warn Luke Wright. As he was about to give up, he received a call from Ash ordering him to head straight for Salem Wall Residences. What can I say? I like a good story. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There's some more important things than my own curiosity and impulses. Oh, that's the end of that one. Okay. Oh, interesting. Profiles. Let's see, Marianne. July 14th. Cancer. 30 years old. I was really confused. Pisces. Taurus. That's barely Pisces, too. She's 5'11". She's almost as tall as Zachary is. Dear designer, Irish. She's an Irish lass. Roman Catholic. Bachelor of the Arts in Architecture. Chocolate Cat's Classical Arts. Left in a dumpster as a baby, she was found by a peddler and spent most of her childhood roaming about the countryside in a beat-up van. Her father taught her how to read, write, and pray. Though an unconventional life, it was all she knew. Child welfare and protection eventually caught on and required she'd have a proper education. She was provided a scholarship to the Samtham School for Young Ladies and was bullied for being a charity kid. Marianne had only one friend, and that was mostly focused on her studies, intent on graduating and returning to her father. A shame that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's soon after. Her work as an architect in Ireland lasted until the Irish economic crisis. She moved to England after some time, Luxburn, in search of a better career opportunities. I couldn't help myself doing that. Look, I haven't gotten to get near Marianne for the entire time. Like, she has anime on her wall. I'm gonna bring this back up. I'm gonna ignore that. I haven't gotten to, there were no Marianne voice lines this entire time. I was very disappointed. I was heartbroken, actually. You know? But I'm gonna just end it there. It seems a good time. Now we've got 3 people finished. I'll try to finish each one of the others in the next episodes. Probably not gonna happen because these are really long for the characters. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Depends on how much work I have next time. I might, I hesitate to say it, I might go to bed earlier on Wednesday and wake up earlier on Thursday so that I can play another game and then jump into this right at 10:30. But who knows? what happens, 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 happens. I'm really excited to finish this, is basically what I'm saying. We're about to start the 4th person on a 7. 7. I was clicking, that's why. Oh, anime. I'm just kidding, I actually like some anime. But, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you, Star, for coming out. Anyone else who showed up for the times, thank you guys. Either way. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Catch you on the flip side.